Hey guys, how you doing? Uncle Bob Connor here, once again with another video. And now, if you'd seen the other video that I did, we did the WrestleMania DVD review of the actual, just the what you get with the box set, and then we just went through what you get in this set, and I just showed you how it's laid out and the artwork and all the stuff. And then I thought I'd do, because that one video was longer than I thought it was, I decided to do a second video discussing the actual matches itself, and how I thought on each match, and my thoughts on the matches. Because rather than do it all one big thing, I think it was going to be too long, so I decided to do one for the actual DVD itself and one for the matches. So let's go straight on to the matches. So as I say, I've watched this once so far. I didn't see it when it happened back in April. I knew the results and I saw highlights, but this was the first time I was watching the whole event all the way through, and I'm going to watch it probably another 3 or 4 times. So let's go through the matches. So obviously the United States Championship match between Austin Theory and John Cena, and obviously Theory going in as champion and then retaining. Now I think them trying to get Theory over, I think it started out okay, and then getting him into the match against Cena was a good idea to try and get Theory over, sort of like the next big star. But then it sort of hasn't really sort of worked out from then. He's sort of like not done much really since then. But anyway, the actual match itself, you're thinking, okay, look good on paper, future star against a legend, and on a showcase of the Immortals, and now you think it's going to be substantially good, because obviously Cena in a Mania match, you think it's going to be some quality, and it was. It was okay. I think it was, the main issue being it was too short, and Theory just dominating most of the match until Cena would hit his big moves, like STF, and AA, just doing his regular routine, not hitting many other moves, and then it was just it turned into sort of a basic match that could have been so much better. I think had been 5 more minutes. I mean, Cena was never going to actually win the title in that situation, because trying to get Theory over, but I think maybe 5 more minutes. No, they could have done a bit more, but it was I think it's just a passable bout. It wasn't a classic. But anyway, let's move on. Now, this the WrestleMania Showcase Fatal 4-Way between Strowman and Ricochet versus Profits versus Academy versus Raiders. Now, again, look good on paper, like 4 good teams. But again, I think the main issue would be in the time. I'm trying to think how long. I'm sure it was less than 15 minutes. Is it 10 or 11 minutes? not very long, it turned out in the end. And I mean, they did well to land a lot of big moves, trying the best they could. Because, you know, 8 men trying to do all their moves, you know, they're not going to do all their whole arsenal of moves, all the teams in that space of time. They're only going to hit like just a few big moves out of their arsenal of manoeuvres. And you know, they did okay with trying to do the manoeuvres that they did. And it was, as I say, it's the same again. It was just like a passable bout. It was just not really that memorable. I mean, hitting big moves. And there was some multiple team moves were quite good. But again, it's just a shortage of time, and could have done with another 5 minutes longer. So then, obviously, Profits winning that. Now, coming on to the next match, Rollins versus Paul, and it's probably the match of the night so far. It was, I'm not sure whether it's because of, obviously, Paul's not got much match experience, only like 3 or 4 matches so far altogether. You know, I'm not sure whether it's just the way he's moving around so far. I mean, right, to be fair, he's done well, really well. I'm not sure if it's maybe that he doesn't seem to be moving. You know, I'm not sure, because it sort of seemed like a totally different Rollins match than usual. Although he hit his usual amount of moves, it's sort of like he wasn't sort of moving around as quick as he usually does. I know Rollins usually moves around a lot much quicker than that. It seemed to like slow down the pace. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that was because of he was against Paul. To slow it down for his benefit. I'm not too sure, but it seemed a bit different, whether it's a bit slow, whether it's the inexperience of Paul, and Rollins slowed it down a bit. I'm not too sure, but anyway, it was a good match. There was a lot back and forth, and there was a lot of big manoeuvres hit by Paul and Rollins, and yeah, it's good in places. However, I don't think for me it stood out as like it was good. And there was good manoeuvres hit, but it didn't stand out for me as like the epic, you know, thing of that. I don't think it's going to be like match of the year. I just think it's going to be just a good 3.5, 4 stars. But yeah, it was passable. And it was fairly good enough. But I think maybe 5 more minutes to become like, to make it really something good, you know. But overall, yeah, best match of the night, and it was fairly decent. Obviously, Rollins winning. Now let's go on to the 6-woman tag match between Lynch, Lita, Trish versus Damage Control, and it was, to be fair, it wasn't a bad tag match, to be honest. I can't remember how long it was, but it wasn't that bad actually. I was sitting there thinking, this isn't a bad 6-woman, I should say, tag match. I remember seeing someone that wasn't that good, but this was okay. This was a fairly okay tag, 6-woman tag. It was quite enjoyable, and all 6 women were hitting various manoeuvres, and it was okay. I don't think it needed to be any longer, and it was all right. You know, obviously not match of the night or match of the year, but it was all right, you know. And obviously Lynch, Lita and Trish winning, and yeah, it was just okay. Now we're going to father and son. Now this was a match that I was really looking forward to seeing. I really liked the storyline between them, father and son, and I was really looking forward to it, and I think it was great on paper. And now obviously Bray beat Dominic, Now, I'm not sure whether that was the right decision moving forward. I think maybe Dominic should have won, or maybe they should have set up a rematch for Dominic to get over, because I think that would help him because he's young and he's sort of like, uh, they're trying to build him up, and the crowd really hates him as a heel, which is good. But I think they need to maybe get him over and let him win, or at least win a rematch to get him over, to build him up. Obviously Ray won, and the match, it was okay. I think it was about 14-15 minutes. All right, it wasn't match of the year or match of the night, but it was one of those matches. It was a fairly decent match for 14 or 15 minutes, and it was back and forth where you thought maybe Ray would win, then you thought maybe Dominic would win, and then obviously it went to Ray's favour. And Dominic held his own. He really gave a good account of himself, and he really put up a good performance in that match. I thought he did really, really well in that, playing a great heel against his dad. And the chemistry was really good. They really worked well together. You can see the training manoeuvres that it was doing, and it did work. As I said, I'd like to see a few more matches between them. I'd like to see it go on, and have a few more matches between, because I think they could have some real good ones. And given more time, they could do so much more. So at 15 was okay. Maybe 5 minutes longer, it could have been a lot better. But as I say, it was fairly okay, back and forth, and it was all right. So now let's go on to now. This was pretty much the best match on night one, if not the second best or joint best on night one, and it was the SmackDown Women's Championship between Charlotte and Rhea, and it was really, really good, to be honest. It was absolutely fantastic. I mean, they've fought before, but I don't think it was as good as this. This was really good. I think it was like 25 minutes, something in that region. It was really good. They were both hitting big manoeuvres, creating near falls, and it went back and forth, and you was, sometimes you thought Ripley was going to win, then you thought Charlotte was going to win, and it went back and forth, and obviously Rhea Ripley winning the title, and it was a really good match. It looked like both women just really wanted to just destroy each other. They were just hitting big moves, and just it was a really good match, very, very good. Certainly match of the night, if not joint match of the night on night one. Very good indeed. I thought it was a really good, and certainly I think actually it was an epic, and it's going to be recognised as a classic. When I look at WrestleMania, I think, that was a classic match between them two, certainly. Now, let's go on to. Now we're going to actually go on to, because on discs, that was night one is on disc 1, but the main event from night 1 is on disc 3, so we'll just go straight onto that, because obviously I want to do night 1 and night 2. Night 1 main event was Owens and Zayn versus Usos for the Undisputed Tag Team Championship, and again, it was probably the match of the night, or joint match of the night, along with Charlotte and Rhea. It was really good. It was about 25 minutes, I think, and it was really, really good. They just made it sort of like, just like a really epic-y sort of tag team match, like we get like WrestleMania matches, like usually the most of the classics single matches. They just made it sort of like an epic tag team match where Usos are in control for the early going, then Owens come in and then created a lot of near falls, then it went back into the Usos' favour, and then they was really dominating, scored loads of near falls and couldn't put Owens and Zayn away. Then Owens and Zayn come back and won the titles, and it was a really good match, and there was really good near falls and a lot going on between both teams, and you know, you thought the Usos were never going to lose the titles, and it took a really big effort from Zayn and Owens to win the titles, and it was really good. Yeah, so I think in night one it had to be between Owens, the tag match, and women's title. Both matches was really good. Yeah, so that's night one. Now, night two, Brock Lesnar versus Omos wasn't very good. It's just a passable, quick, very passable match. It wasn't that great, to be honest. It wasn't even a 5-minute match where it was good. It wasn't very good at all for 5 minutes, and they didn't. Lesnar won, but they should have probably really let Omos or put him over. But you know, doesn't look like he's going to do anything now, because he's sort of like a free agent where he can appear on both shows. So it doesn't really look like they're going to do much with him moving forward, which is a bit disappointing. They could really make him a big, you know, serious giant, where you know he's really hard to beat. But yeah, I don't think it's really worked out really well for Omos, to be honest. And then losing to Lesnar is not a good thing. Yeah, it was just a passable match. Nothing epic or at all about it. It's just really basic stuff. Coming on to the second WrestleMania showcase, it was Fatal 4-Way between Morgan Rodriguez versus Natalie, Shotzi versus Rousey versus Baylor versus Deville and Chelsea. Again, time was the issue. Didn't have very long for weight women, but they did what they did for the majority of it, and it was okay in places. There was a few good moves and a few good spots, and they was trying really hard. To be fair, they was trying really hard to do all they could, and it was a good effort for the time they had, and it was okay. It wasn't a classic, but it was okay, yeah, it was okay. I can't think who actually won now. Was it Rousey and Baszler? Yeah, because I said I've only actually watched this once. I do know the result, but I just forgot actually. I think it was Rousey and Baszler that won? Can't remember. I'm going to watch it again anyway. Now, the Intercontinental Championship triple threat match between Gunther, McIntyre and Sheamus. Now, this was pretty good, to be fair. However, I think they still could have needed about 5 more minutes to make it a really epic encounter, because it was sort of like, it was good, but it wasn't epic, because with the time they had on all three men, they were hitting it was just basically just a chain of big move after big move after big move, and loads of near falls, which, don't get me wrong, was good, but it was sort of like, well, it was limited to how long they had. It was sort of like just getting everything, all the big moves done, one after the other, creating near falls. But it was good. It was good. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't like an epic, memorable match. It was just like sort of, you know, good for what it was. But it was still good with it. It was hitting a lot of moves, and obviously Gunther retaining the IC title. Now we go on to the Raw Women's Championship match between Bianca Belair and Asuka. Now this was really good, pretty similar to the Ripley and Charlotte match. This was a really good women's match, and I give both women a load of credit. It was really good. Certainly going to be joint match of the night. It was really good. It was about, I think, again, it was about 25 minutes, I think, and it was really, really good. And they both women did really well. It's back and forth action, a lot of good manoeuvres hit, and obviously Oscar, Bianca Belair, obviously retaining the title, and yeah, but it was a really, really good match. Now we're going to the Hell in a Cell match between Edge and Baylor. Now, this was definitely a time issue. For a Hell in a Cell match, I think it needed 25 minutes, half an hour. I think they had about 18 minutes, which wasn't long. However, they did do well to do what they did in with that time, because I think you could see, because they knew they had less than 20 minutes, they were rushing, and it was just big move after big move and near fall after near fall, and they was really rushing through it. So they really needed more time to do it. But within that time of 18 minutes, they did do, there was loads of big moves hit, and it was back and forth, and it was good for what it was for the 18 minutes. And obviously Edge winning that match. Now we go on to the main event from night 2 between Cody Rhodes and Reigns for the Undisputed Universal Championship. And yeah, it was really, really good. I think it was about like half an hour I was fighting for, or just over, and it was a pretty good main event, to be fair. However, even though it was really good and like sort of joint match of the night on night 2, I don't know. I think there could have been a few more finishes here and there going on, because I like to see in the main events and like really good matches, I like to see loads and loads of finishes and kickouts of like finishers. I think Reigns only hit a couple of spears, and I think Rhodes only hit a couple of crossroads. I would have liked to see a lot more, because I just like to see loads and loads of kickouts and near falls. But however, for the half an hour, they did do really well and a lot of good moves, and it was back and forth, and it was fairly good, and it kept you guessing who was going to win. And then you thought Rhodes was going to win the title, but then obviously Sikoa interfered, gave Rhodes Samoan Spike when the referee weren't looking, and then Reigns capitalised with a spear and retained the titles. So it was a really good match. So overall, I think between night 1 and night 2, I'm leaning more towards night 2, but that's only because of the main event between Rhodes and Reigns, because I was really looking forward to it. But I think it was quite fairly balanced, if that's being said. I think it was quite sort of even. I don't think where one was stronger than the other, whereas like last year where Stone Cold came back and it was night 1 was, I think, was better because Stone Cold came back. But I think this year was sort of quite even, if that's fair to say. But overall, I thought it was between average to sort of quite really, really good. But I fairly enjoyed it. And I'm going to watch it again, but that's my thoughts on all the matches. So guys, I know this is a long video, but I thought I'd do that to see my thoughts on the actual matches. And okay guys, so hope you enjoy this video. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye for now, see you soon, cheers.